I don't know if you've heard about this so-called restaurant called The Corner, but basically, nary a Big Mac can be found at a restaurant like this. It's all about healthy food. It's, got gazpacho and organic products. So this is really McDonald's way of saying, testing out, we've got to get a little bit healthier, but they've been trying that for years, right?
They have indeed, and good morning to you.
Good morning. So what do you think of a customer learning lab like this?
So I think it's a great idea. What we see happening online is all these companies that are selling things online are constantly doing experiments. My understanding is Amazon does experiments all the time. And when you're not online and you're a regular store like McDonald's is, although hard to call them regular, they need to have some way to experiment. They have historically tried experimenting before they introduced the rib and other menu items, but I think it's a great idea for them to do.
It is, and what they're trying to do is drive home, Professor, this whole point. And they tried to do it in 2014. I'm assuming they're going to be doing it in 2015, driving home the point that they've got real food in their, in their menu. And last year we saw in late fall they put out this whole MythBusters kind of social media campaign where they wanted to, and we'll show you part of this campaign. They wanted to answer questions that viewers had about. That customers had about, whether their beef was real, the chicken was real. What did you think of that campaign?
They're constantly under attack. Because they are as big as they are, they're a likely target. They did have to try and address it. To some degree, it almost raises questions by being so, out there, and lots of people had not heard some of those myths, and you're, to some degree, propagating that themselves. So I'm not a big supporter of the campaign. I think it is good for them to do it online and answer all those questions, but I don't know if they need to be spreading the word either.
What do you think they should be doing then?
One of the things that's interesting in my mind is, you mentioned they're going out and trying to do healthier food. They've been on that campaign for a while, and it's really difficult to change a brand's image. A brand, McDonald's, is so well locked in what it is that it is, and it's going to be hard for people to view them in a different way. So they've introduced salads. They've tried to come up with, no trans fats with their French fries. But they're going to remain the target of not healthy food, almost in part because they're a fast food restaurant. And the association of fast food and healthy, particularly one that's had the history of McDonald's, makes image very hard to change.
Well, to that point, there's lots of chatter about McDonald's maybe even getting rid of its tagline, although the company has said they're not. The "I'm loving it" tagline, which has seemed to work for McDonald's for a while, but Professor, they're thinking now of changing it possibly, and we've heard this speculation, although as I mentioned, they've denied it, that the tagline might be changed from "I'm loving it" to "Lovin' beats hatin'." How do you feel about that?
I think companies go through this major effort of changing their tagline or changing their logo. And it doesn't have much of an it doesn't have much of an impact. Starbucks had a big thing about taking coffee off of their logo, and we still think of Starbucks as coffee, and it doesn't nearly have the impact that they would hope. So I'm not bullish on what the impact would be.
It is kind of like. It's kind of like window dressing, I guess, in some ways. There's, as you point out, a fundamental issue going on with McDonald's. One other part of their marketing strategy early in the year is going to be finally putting a Super Bowl ad, an ad in the Super Bowl for the first time. Does that have any impact?
Well, Super Bowl ads do have an impact because they have just tremendous reach, and they have tremendous reach not just on the Super Bowl, but for the day after and the week after. Everybody's showing it. But you're going to have a pretty dramatic ad. If you just go on and just have another McDonald's ad and nothing that's going to get much notice or attention, it won't have much of an impact other than, once again, you know, we hear the McDonald's name out there. I know Doritos was very successful with their campaign on the Super Bowl, and some companies have been, but you know, there's also companies that have totally failed. So it's going to depend on the execution of that ad.